One of the most common questions that I hear from survivors is, where do I start rehab if I don't have any movement on my affected side? Well, the best technique for this is something called mental practice. And today I'm going to walk you through why it works, and I'll actually take you on a guided mental practice activity. So what is mental practice? Well, essentially it is the act of imagining yourself doing a specific activity, exercise, or movement in your mind. And it's been used for years with athletes and musicians to good effect, and only been recently studied with stroke survivors. In a study on athletes who used mental practice, researchers found that those who did use it were more effective in their sport than those who didn't. And while it doesn't replace physical practice, it's a good place to start if you don't have any movement and to give you an edge on starting your rehab. Think about it like this. Have you ever had to give a speech or had to do some type of public speaking, whether that was a presentation in a class or at work? Well, I don't know about you, but I typically practice my speech over and over in my brain. I practice the gestures that I'll be making, how I'll be standing, because I'm trying to hedge my bets that it will go well when the time comes. And that is mental practice. With that said, let's get into the guided mental practice activity. I'll be giving you steps along the way so that you can feel empowered to do this at home on your own. So your guided mental practice activity today is going to be taking a walk by the lake. So the first thing that we want to do to prepare for a mental practice activity is try to get comfortable. Sit somewhere that's really cozy, try to relax, and take a couple big deep breaths in and out. In and out. Good. Now, it may take you a little while to get to the point where you can feel comfortable and relaxed with these and have enough attention to really get into the mental practice activity, but that's okay. Just know to expect that. One thing that you need to keep in mind as well is you're going to try to really imagine the space that you're going to practice. And in our case, we are at the lake and we're trying to vividly imagine what that's like. What smells there are, what it looks like, and setting all of that up. We've got big, bright blue skies today. There are birds singing and chirping everywhere. The wind is blowing just slightly through the trees. And it smells like a lake, not in a bad way. And the ground is a little bit mushy and soft. We're gonna start by just taking a couple of steps. And what I really want you to focus on is, how does your body feel? As you take steps, can you feel your weight shifting from one leg and then to the other? Do you feel your feet on the ground and feel the ground really supporting you? Do you feel the weight down through your hips and your knees and your feet as you're moving and taking steps forward on this mushy ground? You can feel as you lift up your knee that your foot becomes light and you're able to take a step. You might even be able to feel leaves crunch under your feet. And as you walk, you might run into a tree and see the rough bark that it has, and it might even cause you to want to reach out. And maybe you take your hand and you reach out to the tree. You lift from your shoulder, your elbow straightens out, and your wrist bends back as you reach up to really touch that rough bark. And you feel a really nice stretch along the inside of your wrist and your forearm as you reach out. And then you lean against that tree. You feel the rough bark underneath your fingertips. And it's warm because the sun's been hitting it. And you notice that. And you also notice that you can lean into that tree and you can feel that it supports your weight. Maybe while you're doing this, you hear a bird and notice that there's a bird on a tree branch above you. And you see that and you notice that. It's very important as you go through this to really try to make your mental practice real. You are trying to feel all of the physical sensations that you can, the heaviness or lightness of your arms or your legs. You're feeling the wind on your skin. You're hearing the birds chirp. That was good timing. You're really seeing the blue sky and feeling the sun warm your skin. And maybe you continue on with this. You continue to take a few more steps. And this time you're really noticing how when you step, you strike with your heel, you get to the ball of your foot. And then you lift up and your whole leg lifts in preparation for the next step. And your other leg comes down and your heel strikes. Your foot rolls forward until you hit the ball of your foot. And then that foot lifts up off the ground in preparation for the next step. So we're paying attention to everything that we're feeling. Even tap into emotionally, how are you feeling? Is a sunny day at the lake, walking, getting some movement, reaching up to touch the tree. Does that feel nice? Does it make you feel happy or accomplished? One thing I want you to remember is, we've taken a little bit of a longer walk today, but you don't necessarily have to do something incredibly long. You can do short periods of mental practice too, and that's just fine. And that may be better as you're starting off. All right, go ahead and open your eyes. Great job. Thank you so much for coming with me on this guided mental practice activity today. Here's a quick recap of the 4 things that you need to be successful with mental practice at home. Number 1, get comfortable and try to relax. This may be hard to do in the beginning, but do your best. Number 2, really imagine your space. Try to vividly imagine what your mental practice environment looks like, smells, sights, and sounds included. Number 3, make your mental practice session real, as realistic as you can. As you practice, focus on what your arms, your legs, your body feels like as you go through movements. Think about emotionally how you're feeling. What do you smell? And number 4, remember that your mental practice sessions don't have to be super long. You can start with shorter sessions and work your way up to longer ones. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.